There's this scene from a particular movie where a lady who works as a front desk officer in a company is being informed by her manager that in the coming weeks, another person will be brought into the company to stand as the acting supervisor of that company. And this lady, who is a front desk officer, has been elected to train this incoming staff to handle the supervisor role well. And perplexed by all of this, she then goes on to question the manager and asks, why is she not in line for the promotion, for the supervisor role? Where the manager casually responds to her by saying that, well, it's because she's too damn good at her job of being a front desk officer. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sona, this is video listing, and today we're going to be talking about the subject of promotions. It's quite a tricky subject to get around because according to the data, just about 6.2% of people actually report ever getting promoted in whatever business or corporate structure they find themselves. And it's kind of weird to think about because we have people who are generally, known to have stayed in the same positions for years upon years, and some of them, it's not like they're unproductive or something, but most of the time they are very, very good. In fact, they are too good at doing this particular job that the company usually elects to bring in someone else, to fill a higher position which pops up, And we have this situation where the company might even be expanding, annual growth, expanding in scale, opening new branches or something. But rather than promoting the old staffs who have been with the company right from the start, they still look for or seek talents outside to fit in new goals which open up in that corporate structure. And guys, before we move forward, we have to establish something here. Your boss, your employer, or whatever doesn't like you. Yeah, I know that's a little bit weird to say. It's not like they don't like you as a person, but it's what you represent to the company. The relationship between employee and employer is a very straightforward one. You come up to work, you put in the hours, and at the end of the week or the month or whatever, you get paid wages. That's a very straightforward working relationship. But the thing is that despite the excellent work which you might be doing for the company, you still register under the wage bill of the company, and that in turn makes you a liability. It means at the end of the month, the company is losing some sort of resource to you for the work that you put in. And every profit-making organization, every profit-seeking company, is incentivized to get the most amount of hours, the most amount of productive work from the employees, and expend the least amount of resources at the end of a month or end of a week or whatever to those employees. That's just the way it works. You want to get the most by spending the least. And a company who has successfully had you playing, a specific role in whatever capacity and knows that you are very productive in that role will want to keep you in that position for as long as possible, because they know that they will keep getting, a productive output from you and can get away with it by spending as little as possible or as a limited sum or just about the exact sum which was agreed upon when you first started working in that company. That's why, guys, you might walk up to your boss today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter how many years you have been working for that company. You most likely get a no when you seek for a promotion. And looking into this, what's actually the solution to do? Most people just like, well, since promotions doesn't come internally in most cases, after a couple of years or a couple of months, even in some situations, people often advise others to seek better opportunities, seek better pay, just resign, if I can put it like that. And while this is true in some cases, in some situations, it might not always be the best solution for you to go about it if you are looking for a higher role or something. And the thing is that most people often base their claims of promotions or deservedness of promotions, but on the longevity of their time spent in that company. And yeah, this makes sense. I mean, if you've worked for somewhere for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you should not be in the same position for that amount of time, And the other part about this is that, when you get too good at a particular, when you get too good at a particular position, sometimes it actually hurts the company more to change you from that position to a higher position, because there's no immediate person who is sufficiently qualified or trained, especially in this type of jobs where we have a very high skill level to carry out specific tasks. You might be the only one who's capable of replicating that particular task or carrying out that job in that particular way, which is beneficial for the company, and this company will then be disincentivized in promoting you or changing you from that position. They might, do some salary increments year in, year out, just to keep you from being disgruntled. But the truth is that changing you from that position to making you maybe a manager of a new branch or even a supervisor will leave that particular role vacant, and they might not have somebody at the immediate time to fill that particular role. That's why, guys, when you are in any sort of corporate structure, you always have to aspire to do more than what you could possibly do for the company. Aspire to be as versatile as possible. I'll take the example for someone who's working as a waiter. That's a very easy example that all of us can connect to. It's a straightforward role. You come to work, you interact with guests, you wait tables, you know the menu. Good and fine, yes, guys. But in any role which you find yourself like that, your versatility is what will guarantee you to be promoted as fast as possible. Maybe you're a waiter who also can work as a bartender, who also can work in the kitchen if it's a restaurant, who also can do some sort of paperwork. Having those kind of skills, puts you more in line than the situation where you just be a very, very good waiter. You can handle 10 tables at once or whatever. You can, you are always there, you show up on time, you interact with the guests very well. Like, you stand as the face of that company when it comes to interacting with the guests and all of that. And in that case, removing you from that waiter position will actively hurt the business, because we have restaurants where people visit the restaurant because of the warm hospitality from the particular waiters which interact with them. So guys, another sure way of increasing your chance of getting a promotion in the company is the issue of mentorship. Most people have this mindset of, well, they're too good at their position, where they feel threatened and they actively withhold their skills and mentorship from training other staffs. But that's not instead the case. You want to be that leader in the corporate structure, inside the company or wherever you find yourself, where you are actively training the new staffs, sharing out your skills to them, pushing them. In this way, it makes it easier for you to be promoted to a higher role, because the manager or whoever, the boss, might view like, okay, well, you as this person has sufficiently trained the staffs around you that they can easily fill your role if you are being vacated to a new position. But if you stay in that company 2 years, 3 years, and you are very tight-fisted, you are not open-minded to train others, you instead find that the new staffs who came to the company later than you are being promoted to new positions, while you are left alone in your particular position, because you'll be very productive in that position. But if you have trained no one to take that role from you, or to fill in that role, to fill in that gap from you, the boss is not going to promote you from the position in which you are, because you are the best person for that particular role. Guys, you get what I'm saying? So always have this mindset of mentorship, leadership, bringing up those around you. It makes it easier for the company to see the need to promote you at the right time to a new position, maybe as a new branch manager, or just as a higher position when you have sufficiently trained people to fill in the gap for you. So guys, for the last thing which I think you can do, because some situations, some cases, you might do all of these and the promotion still seems kind of far away. So this is where you have to take up the courage to respectfully meet your employer and try to renegotiate, reevaluate the terms of the work, maybe reevaluate the terms of the contract or something, because most of the time the higher ups, they notice everyone in the company. They have metrics to follow on the output of everyone of the company, and you might be giving out more than the company demands. You might be putting in so much of your time, your effort and everything, but the company will not actively make you know of this. We have in most cases where people work themselves off, but they don't get this recognition from it, because the company, the boss knows that the moment they give you a pat in the back, that already puts an indication of promotion in your mind. So they want to be as very straight-faced as possible with you, despite the good work which you are doing for the company. And if you leave it at that, guys, you can go years upon years in a particular role without the manager or whosoever in charge actively seeing it as necessary to promote you from that role. So sometimes it's good to, when the time is right, walk up to them, have a professional chat with them, make them to know that, well, you have been with them for some time, and if you don't see any progress, any ladder up the structure of the company, then you might be considering taking your talents or your skills to another company, because let's face it, guys, you most likely get paid better or more favorable contract situation if you leave that company. Yes, that's true, but sometimes to put in more pressure on the boss or the employer or something can facilitate that process of you being promoted. You just have to do it in a way which is non-threatening. You still have to have it at the back of your mind that, well, this is a job which you are doing, and while in some cases it might be good to just abruptly resign from a job before you get something better, it can also put you in a very tricky spot of having been so qualified just for that particular role, that when you try to seek out a new job in a new company, maybe you will not be that valued as you are in this particular company which you work in now. So just look for that balance of having the right experience or the right time spent with this particular company, but not to stick in the particular role for such a long time that your growth becomes stunted, you become like stagnated in that particular role which you are working in. So guys, that will be all for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do drop a like and a comment below, what you think about the issue of promotions. Have you ever got promoted? Are you actively in line for a promotion in whatever company you work in now? And for those of us who are still looking for jobs out there, I really wish you all the best. Do refer to our earlier videos on some tips and information on how to go about getting jobs here in the Middle East and just generally around the world. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.